so I'll just read a passage. Billy cried out in exhaustion. Every muscle in his body burned, but he couldn't stop. He couldn't slow down, or the Westfall Wolfman would catch him. The heavy footsteps of the beast grew quieter until Billy could only hear his own footfalls echoing off the cold granite walls. He stopped running and took a minute to get his bearings. He recognized this part of the maze. He was near the exit. Using the light on his wristwatch, he made his way out of the maze and into the cold, pale moonlight. His bike sat where he had left it, so he got on and started pedaling furiously towards town. Billy knew what he had to do. He had to tell the police that he had found the Wolfman's lair. The police station was quiet in the middle of the night in the sleepy town of Westfall. Billy burst through the door and ran up to the front counter. No one was there, so he began tapping the round silver bell feverishly. Terror froze Billy's heart in his chest. Where were the police? Just hold your horses, son, said a voice laconically. Billy couldn't see him yet, but he knew that voice from the TV news. It was Police Chief Barnum. Billy sighed and slumped down, leaning his head on the counter, trying to catch his breath after the long bike ride here. He heard the police chief coming closer. Billy, I've been expecting you. Billy looked up. It was the police chief, all right, but he had long grey fur sticking out from beneath his uniform and heavy paws where his hands should have been. Police Chief Barnum was the Westfall Wolfman. Billy screamed in horror as the Wolfman jumped over the counter to devour him. Evan Goldsworthy clasped his hands behind his head. He leaned back and read that last sentence again. Yes, he was convinced that he had just written the best fucking kids' horror story ever. Just like every time he finished a manuscript, Evan wished for a cigarette, but he hadn't smoked one in years. He read the story over again, thinking of all the money it would make and all the pussy he'd get with that money. He dreamed of all the nubile 20-somethings wanting to suck his dick because they'd grown up reading his books. But no, nobody even knew his name. He would get no recognition for this book or any of the 100 others he had written because he was only a ghost writer. He floated weightlessly through the wall, leaving the dusty attic behind. His finished manuscript sat forlornly in the typewriter, waiting to be found by that shit-eating bastard, R.L. Stein.